It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Kristy Norton, UNCW's softball head coach. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, just surviving a bad storm. I hope the power doesn't go out on us.
Oh, no. Can you talk about how you got started in coaching softball?
Yeah, sure. Actually, it was my junior year in college. My dad was, sitting around having a father's-daughter talk and just wanted to know my life plans, and because I was about to graduate. And he said, "So what do you think you're going to do after you graduate college?" And I said, "Well, I'm not really sure yet. Maybe military, maybe personal training." He goes, "What do you think about coaching?" And I was like, "Well, that'd be great. I think I could learn to do that and do it well." And he goes, "Well, let's start a travel ball team." So there came the Carolina Wildcats, and from there just kind of built my connection with some college coaches. A brand new coach took over the program at Uncg right after I graduated, and I had the pleasure of getting one of my athletes recruited to her previous institution. So, kind of took off from there. Just started with building relationships in the coaching world, and the next thing you know, I had a job.
Can you talk about your start at Carolina Wildcats and how that was?
Sure, it's so long ago, but Carolina Wildcats, they we just traveled basically regionally, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. What we would do is host tryouts every year for age 18 and under, and try to recruit and seek out the best talent in the state of North Carolina. So we had athletes from all over the state participate on this particular travel ball team. And in that eventually grew, and it's still a viable program these days.
Can you talk about your experience at James Madison?
Sure. James Madison was an incredible institution. I got my master's degree from there. At JMU, we won their first ever conference championship and participated in NCAA regionals back in 2009, and played a very, very close regional with Tennessee before they knocked us out. We went into extra innings, and they beat us after that. And I just tried to help build a program that I was proud of, and build people and build young women that I was proud of. So that was a little bit about my experience there.
Can you talk about your time at UNC Greensboro as a player and as a coach?
It was actually funny that you asked that. Today I got to work, and in my mailbox I had this media guide from back in the day, and I was like, where in the heck did this come from? I still don't know where it came from, but that's actually the first year I ever started coaching. So at my experience at Greensboro, I was a brand new young coach. I was coaching my friends that I had just played with for several years, even some that I played with in high school. And so it was a different transition for me. I don't want to say it was tough, but it was just an awkward kind of time being a young coach coaching your fellow teammate, your former teammates. But as a player, I absolutely loved Greensboro. It was a great place for me to go to school. I was just far enough away from home that I could still visit family if I wanted to. My parents made almost every single game throughout my career. I don't think they missed but one game. Had incredible teammates while I was there. I had two teammates of mine become players of the year. So that was awesome to see and watch and just be a part of that experience. And I left the program with the most starts than anyone else in the history of the program. And looking through the media guide today, I'm still there at the very top of games started. And I think I'm only there now because they can't play that many games as we used to play. So that's kind of a stat that I was real proud of. And that was a goal of mine when I went to UNCG, because I think that if you set that kind of goal, that means that you're an everyday contributor. like you work hard to get in that starting lineup every single game. So I'm real proud of that one.
How does it feel to still keep that record at UNCG?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, like I said, we used to play 66 games a year, and we did that for 3 years. And then I think that changed my 4th year in college. We went to a 56 game max schedule for the NCAA. So, it's just fun to see your name at the top of a list that you worked really hard to get to.
Can you talk about your time at Carolina Wildcats?
We just got some players. I was able to coach with my dad. We were able to, find players from all over the state. We won a couple championships. And outside of that, it was just a really good experience to coach, to kind of get my feet wet and to build relationships in the coaching world at all levels.
Can you talk about your career at UNCW and what you've achieved so far?
Sure. We have this. I've just completed my 8th season, and it was a short season with COVID, which is fine. But over my time here, we've done a lot of recruiting in state, out of state. Next year's class is actually 5 out of state students. So I'm really proud that we were able to achieve enough success for people outside of North Carolina to know who we are, and to believe in the vision that we're building in this program. And I would say that 2017 was the program's best year in our program history. And that was a great year for us. We had 4 seniors that season, and they by far were an incredible group of young women who led all 4 years while they were here. That was my first recruiting class. Once I got to Greensboro, those were going to be my nucleus of what I was going to build around. And they certainly achieved that for themselves and for, that was one of my goals. So it's kind of checked off my bucket list or my coaching list. But we've built our stadium, and that was a process over 5 years. And if and when I decide to leave the program, I'm really proud up to this point, all the strides that we've made in such a short period of time.
That's so amazing. Can you talk about the recruitment process and what it's like at UNCW for you?
Sure. We recruit statewide. We recruit regionally in, the eastern part of the state. We do venture out to Georgia and Tennessee a couple times of the year. We just look for athletic women who communicate and can have talent. I'm really looking for the best athlete to fit the spot that we need. And in most cases, multi-position athlete. We love pitchers who can hit in positions and play different positions.
Can you talk about the 2017 season?
Sure. So best season in program history. I think our record was 38 and 18 or 19. I'm not sure of our losses that year, but it was just a groundbreaking time for our program. We made the conference tournament for the first time since 2006, so over a decade, and we surprised a lot of people in our conference that year. So we even upset number 1 in our conference, James Madison, that year in a walk-off home run on our home field. So that was an incredible experience. I think they were on their way to being ranked in the top 25 in the country. So that was all we could do just to contain our excitement. But we knew we had another game that day to play with them. But that year, like I said, we had 4 seniors that we built our program around. And at the end of that season, we were able to participate in basically what is softball's NIT, like a basketball has the NIT. Well, softball has an invitational as well, and we got invited to that and went on to play at Liberty University and finished 2nd there.
What are some future plans for UNCW that you wish to accomplish in this upcoming season?
Well, with the extreme flexibility model that our conference is asking us to play, it puts a little spin on what our schedule actually looks like for conference. But I would like to we're going to play James Madison, Elon, and College of Charleston, and we're going to play home and aways with 2 of those opponents. I really hope that we can finish, above 500. These are the toughest teams in our conference. That's going to be tough to do, but this year we are automatically going to the conference tournament. It's a new format this year. So I'm hoping with a young team that we just continue to build on the success from last year and just continue to grow our culture and believe in championship mentality and mindset.
How does that help y'all in this upcoming year when you know that you're going to be going already to the conference tournament?
For us, it doesn't impact us in any way, shape, or form. Like, I think our team is competitive. I think they're competitive minded. So we're just going to break our season down into our preseason tournaments. We're going to break down our conference weekend tournaments, and then into not our conference weekend tournaments, but our conference kind of series. We're going to break those down because we're going to have to play them again. So it's like we attack them in one way, depending on how we do in that weekend. We might have to change the way we prepare for them the next time. So that's just going to be a little bit different. But then making the conference tournament, it's every man's possibility to win that thing.
What advice would you give upcoming college recruits looking to get recruited to UNCW?
Can you ask the question one more time?
What advice would you give upcoming college recruits getting recruited to UNCW?
I would just say communicate directly with the head coach or assistant coaches as often as possible. There's no replacement for direct to follow. I love that's going to and communicate.
What advice would you give to upcoming college coaches?
The upcoming college coaches, I would say work camps at other universities as you're a player in college, meaning my freshman, sophomore, and junior years, I worked Carolina camp or UNC camp. I worked Furman's camp. I worked traveled all the way up north and worked at St. John's camp and Fairfield's camp. So just reach out to these coaches and say, hey, I'm interested in potentially being a college coach one day. May I work your camp this summer? And usually at those camps, they have several colleges attend. So at that point, you're connecting and networking with the exact people that you may work with one day.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Norton K on Twitter. Actually, I think that just changed. Coach, let me just check it out. At Coach Nort, UNCW on Twitter. On Instagram, it's Kristy Norton. And then on Facebook, Kristy Norton as well.
Thank you again, Coach Norton, for your interview, and best of luck at UNCW. You can find Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Norton.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.